Do you have dreams? I know Martin Luther King had one. But do you have dreams? Please raise your hands, those who have dreams. Thank you. Now please raise your hand if you think that those dreams are limitless. If you think that your dreams or any dreams have no limits. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but dreams have limits. But reality has none. Would I, being a girl born in the tiny remote village in the southern steppes of the Soviet Kazakhstan back in the 1980s, would dream one day that I would be at Harvard. At that time, my dreams were limited, just going to a good school, getting good education, being a good pioneer, a member of youth organization in the Soviet Union, and just be a good Soviet citizen. But those dreams led me to the bigger town with my family, where I started to study at a very good school which specialized on math and physics. So that led my dreams to a new meaning, new direction. And I started to dream even bigger, to attend the best university in the Soviet Union, Moscow State University. So I studied and worked hard to achieve that dream. Besides that, I was doing pretty well in math. I was a high achiever in chess, in tennis, I was learning English, and I was very active pupil that probably the great Lenin would be proud of. But now, looking back, I think that what I was trying to do at the time was to design my life. That is, simply I was making an attempt to plan my past, my future, to reach those dreams. But the reality had other plans for me. So, going back to my dreams, useful dreams, I was plodding along in pursuit of those dreams, but then 1991 came. The whole world around me, and not only around me, but the global system has collapsed. I woke up one beautiful winter morning to discover that the country I lived in did not exist anymore. Lenin was no longer our idol, and my dreams were in vain, and I got my lessons. There was no heating, and there was no electricity, just a couple of hours per day. But I learned from my parents, who were professors at the university and college themselves, how to burn the books from our huge library at home. They did it because they had to keep warm their 4 kids. And they did it because they wanted to survive that cold winter. Salaries were not paid for months, and the market stores were empty. But I learned how to be grateful for just eating bread with a couple of walnuts from our backyard, or boiled potatoes and carrots 3 times per day. Schools were still functioning, and I learned to keep going there, even though my thoughts were that there was no future for me, and the future was just a big, huge black hole with no future in it. But remember, reality has no limits. And we made through those mid-90s successfully. I graduated from the high school with the highest grades, even higher dreams. Exploration of rich natural resources and the oil boom in our country has opened a new page in our history and also in my life. President, with public support, moved the capital from Almaty to Astana, and our country was rapidly integrating into the world. So I was in a hurry to capitalize that opportunities the reality provided me. In 1999, when I was 19-year-old girl, I graduated from the university in my hometown with a degree in economics and with a dream to go to Astana and to build my own capital and my new life. When I told my dad that I will never become an academic as you, because it never provided us the life we wanted. So typical of many 19-year-olds, I just thought that I knew how to design my life. And moreover, not only my life, I knew how to design the country's life. So I set off to pursue that my dream and looking for a job as a Minister of Education. Apparently, they were not ready to give me an opportunity to provide them with my life design. So instead, the reality actually drifted that dream and led me somewhere else. Before I knew it, I found myself on a plane, heading to study for my master's degree to Turkey as a recipient of the scholarship from the Turkish Ministry of Education. Wow, you can imagine what was that, how mind-blowing that was for a 19-year-old girl to be going abroad for the first time, even being for the first time on a plane and going where? To Turkey. As a youngster at school, I was taught that Turkey was our hostile country, it was our enemy because due to their membership in NATO. But when I arrived, the country and people welcomed me with warm smiling merhaba, hard tea glasses, and graceful beauty of mosques. I learned the Turkish language and I became a fan of football when Galatasaray won the championship in Redefining 2000. I was wandering around Sofia, studying about humanity, eating kumpir in Ortaköy, listening to Tarkan and drinking lots and lots of Turkish. While my studies, I was working 3 jobs because the scholarship was hardly enough to survive and I wanted to support my family back in Kazakhstan. I was babysitting for a family in Nişantaşı, teaching some Turkish students Russian language, and assisting in the office in one of the textile companies in Merter. You know where, right? Was it part of my dream? I don't know, maybe it was, but I didn't know that at that time, but could I design that? My professor at Istanbul University altered my perception of academic career, and she encouraged me based on my performances in graduate studies and learning and knowledge of foreign languages, French, English, and now Turkish and Russian. So she encouraged me to go for PhD studies to UK. Wow, you remember when I told my dad about academic career? So now my dreams expanded to the degree I never saw before. And I applied and got several offers from several leading universities in the UK. And I was thrilled by that opportunity. And my dreams were going to come true because I wanted to become now a worldwide famous scholar. But the reality has no limits. I don't know if those who have ever been diagnosed with or suspected of cancer at the same level of shock as I had, but each experience is unique, but mine was equal to nuclear explosion to me. Such suspicions of doctors actually had more devastating impact on me than the probably collapse of the whole entire Soviet system back in 1991. So, recently I read an article that cancer is not an illness, it's a desperation. It's our inability to cope with the reality. No one told me that then, but I kept going to my studies at the university with the quote of Winston Churchill in my mind. If you're going through hell, keep going. I didn't want to upset my parents and friends, so I struggled on my own. But when I faced the decision of surgery, I decided to call my mom just 15 minutes before that because the crazy idea struck my mind. What if I die here in the hospital in Turkey and they never learn? So in me, there was embassy, Kazakhstan, and consulate, they would inform them, right? That year actually led me to, and helped me to find strength from my religion. I was on my own with Allah, and I matured in reading the Holy Quran, and I found the strength, the power from my inner self. The cancer was suspected was ovarian. So the scariest thing for me as a woman was that I might never have kids. I was raised in a family of 5, so I always dreamed of a huge family, but dreams have limits. So the surgery was successful. After a year long of observations and analysis, I was told the suspicion was wrong. So the new page in my life opened. I started to build new plans, dreams, met my future husband then, and to keep going with my life. So we came back to Kazakhstan. I came back with my diploma, master's diploma, with a husband and pregnant for my first child. And I started my academic career in the top leading university in Kazakhstan. And I was ashamed to tell my mother and father that actually I couldn't escape the life they designed for me. So for the last 9 years I've been living in Astana, where I got my PhD in political science, learned my 7th foreign language, established my research institute, and raising happily with my husband 2 wonderful kids. I even was honing my skills in university administration and public speaking. I moderated the countrywide Nobel Prize laureates lectures. I even interviewed John Nash from The Beautiful Mind. And was dreaming to write my first book. But the reality had more to offer. Last year, in August, I got an opportunity of a lifetime. Thanks to the presidential scholarship for all Kazakhstani students and scholars, I got an opportunity to go for my postdoc studies at Harvard. Harvard, which frankly I had not been heard back in 1991, now wanted me, and I was honored and humbled. Can I have designed this? At Harvard, I had a great experience, which was mind-blowing and thought-provoking. I don't know if other people dream after Harvard, but I had a new dream to go back to my country and establish a consulting and training company for universities so that we could build our own Harvard in Kazakhstan. And I started to study what actually makes Harvard, Harvard. I was meeting professors from Harvard School of Education, Kennedy Government School, Harvard Business School, and learning and exploring more and more while dreaming of Harvard back in Kazakhstan. And then yet another big-scale collapse shook my world. I lost my dad this spring. But this time was different. I started to understand that you cannot resent the twists of fate. And I kept doing what I thought was right to do in the reality I had. So, and I'm here with my new dreams. And what about, as for life design, you just can Google it and find how to do one. Because what I learned is that you cannot design your life. But what you can design is your thoughts and your attitude toward it. Instead of making your dreams reality, let your reality become your dreams. Dreams have no limits. Have limits, but reality has none. So, and I thought that it was an idea worth spreading. Thank you very much.